Hello, financial mathematics students. Today we're going to be going over the Unit 8 activity. It's about consumer loans. We're going to be dealing with credit card loans and mortgage loans. But I think this one's relatively simple, but hopefully you have your calculator, your pencil ready, and we'll go ahead and get started. So on page 5, go ahead and read this. I'm going to read it aloud, so please follow along. In this task, you'll use credit card disclosures to find pertinent information needed to analyze credit card offers, including how interest, fees, and penalties are assessed. Using this information, you'll calculate the average daily balance and finance charge for a credit card account. You'll also examine a published report to look for any connection between balance behavior of credit card accounts and credit. Credit card lenders are required by law to provide full disclosure of credit terms such as annual percentage rate, APR, and fees. Consumers can find details about all the fees and interest rates applicable to their credit card account in the credit card disclosure document. Review the information in this sample credit card disclosure and then answer the following questions. Go ahead and click on that link. That should give you this page right here, okay? Credit card disclosure information, and you can see APR for regular purchases and so on and so forth. Now, APR is your interest rate. So if you're taking out a credit card, you want a lower interest rate. And that's true for any loan that you take out. The lower the interest rate, the better. So that's for credit cards, for personal loans, student loans, mortgages, car loans, any loan. You want there to be a lower interest rate that you're paying back. So lower APR, the lower the better. Okay, for which reasons could you face a penalty annual APR? Select all the correct answers. So penalty APR. So that's gonna be, when you look over here, penalty APR and when it applies. So here are the 3 reasons for increased APR. So if you make a late payment, make a payment that is returned. In other words, like your check bounced, basically, or you go over the credit limit. Okay, so those are the 3 reasons. You want to click right here. Okay. All right, next one. Select the correct answer from the drop-down menu. Some credit cards offer a low introductory APR for a set period of time. After the introductory period is over, the APR is increased to a new rate. According to the sample credit card disclosure agreement, after a period of blank, the APR will increase to blank. Okay, so we have an introductory APR, so that's at the top here. So it says introductory APR is for 1 year, and after that, your APR will be 14.99. So 1 year is the introductory period, 14.99. The introductory period APR is always lower than the normal APR. Okay. Credit card companies have many different offers available. To pick the offer that best suits a consumer's specific needs, it's important to review information such as interest rates, fees, and rewards. Jack is planning to apply for a new credit card that needs to compare 2 offers. Complete the table based on the information in the credit card disclosures for UltraCard and Sunkirk One. Write none when applicable. Okay, so I'm going to show you on UltraCard here. So go ahead and click on these links. You're going to need them. The UltraCard one looks like this. It says UltraCard pricing information at the top. The Sunkirk one looks like this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I want to help you answer this column right here. And I want you to try to do the Sunkirk one on your own. So the introductory APR for UltraCard. Let's see, do we have an introductory APR? Fees, rewards, annual fees, eligibility requirement. Let's see, I don't see an introductory APR, do you? Okay, so if it doesn't say an introductory APR, then we're going to go ahead and put none here. Okay. So if it doesn't mention it, it says write none where applicable. So there's going to be a none right there. Okay. So since there's no introductory APR, we're going to put none again. Regular APR. So our regular APR, when we look over here, for regular purchases, 19.89%. Annual fee. Let's see, do we see an annual fee somewhere? Right here, annual fee, $35. Required credit score rating. Required credit score rating. Let's see. Eligibility requirements. Applicants must have a credit score between 720 and 850. 720 to 850. Cashback rewards percentage. Rewards, unlimited 1% cashback on all purchases. 1%. Over the credit limit fee. So is there a fee for going over the credit limit? Over the credit limit, $35 fee. Okay, so that's how you answer this. See if you can answer this column for Sunkirk. Again, you would look at this information and see if you can go ahead and do that. Pause the video, go ahead and fill that out, and then we'll be at the next problem. Okay, question 2. Jack decided to apply for the Ultra card. He met the requirements and was approved. Jack made several purchases. The first month, he had the credit card. The table shows his daily balances for the month. Okay, so you can see from day 1 to day 9, he had a balance of $150. So on day 1, he made a purchase, let's say, for $150. So during those first 9 days, he made that one purchase on day 1, and then that's it for 9 days, okay? Then on day 10, you can see here that on day 10, he made an additional purchase, right? So now his balance is higher. And on day 14, he made another purchase, his balance is higher. And so his balance is going up as he continues to make purchases. So what we want to do is we want to find the average daily balance of Jack's new credit card account is. So how do we find the average daily balance? So basically, you can click on this resource and it gives you a good example of how to do it. But we're going to walk through it step by step so we can see what to do here. So, okay. So how do we do this? So what we're going to do is we're going to do you take each of these balances and you multiply by the number of days that balance is there. So $150 times 9. And then plus, then the next balance is this balance right here times 4. So 212.48 times 4 plus, we're just going to continue to add these, 243.17 times 5 plus, I'm going to continue down here, $623.42 times 8 days plus $833.89 for 4 days. Okay, so you're going to add this all total and then you're going to divide by 30 days because the billing cycle is 30 days. So we're going to find each of these products and then add them all together. So we have my calculator here. Let's go ahead and work that out. So 150 times 9 is going to be 1350 plus 212.48 times 4, 0.49.492 plus, okay, and then just continue this down the line. One, two, 1, 5. If you're writing everything I'm writing, then it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, so just continue, just copy what I'm doing. You can move ahead if you're moving faster, because I know I'm writing kind of slow, but that's okay. This is the 623.42 times 8. So that's 498.7.36. And then plus, last one, 833.89 times 4. 3335.56. Now we're gonna add these together and find the sum. So add all these together. 849.92 plus 1215.85 plus 4987.36. Okay, so the sum here is 11738.69, and then you divide by the number of days in the billing cycle. So in this case, 30 days. 30 days is a typical billing cycle, so that's good. So I've got 391.2. The answer key says 0.22. My calculator says 0.29, but if you've got something like this, that's good. The answer key says 0.22, but it really should be about 0.29. That's okay. All right. Okay. The finance charge that Jack can expect on his first credit card statement is, so what's the finance charge that Jack can expect? Well, let's see. We want to use this resource here. How do we find the finance charge? Okay, to calculate the monthly interest rate, divide the APR by 12. Okay. And then multiply that by the daily balance by the monthly interest rate. Okay, so we add our daily balance and we want to find the monthly interest rate. So our monthly interest rate, and this one, in Jack's case, remember Jack is using the Ultra card. So this is his first month. He's doing the Ultra card, 19.89. So what we're going to do is divide that by 12. So 19.89 divided by 12. This gives you a monthly interest rate. You should get 1.6575. 1.6575 after you divide this by 12. Now you want to make sure that you have it as a pure decimal. So we're going to move the decimal place over twice. So that's going to be 0.016575. 0.016575. And we're going to multiply that by our monthly, the average monthly, which was this. So times 391.22. This gives us $6.48. Here they say $6.49. It's about right. Okay. Hope that made sense. Okay. Part C. The Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act of 2010 established the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB. The purpose of the CFPB is to ensure that consumer finance markets work effectively. It provides a forum for consumers to submit their complaints about the service received from financial providers. It also educates consumers about financial matters to help them make sound financial decisions. Use this consumer credit card market report. So you're going to want to click on this report. It looks like this, consumer credit card market. Okay. And we want to answer these questions. So refer to section 1.3.2 credit scores on page 22 of the report. So when you go to the report, you could just go up to here and just put 22 and it'll take you automatically to page 22. So here we are on page 22, section 1.3.2 credit scores. Okay. For which two purposes do credit card issuers use credit scores? Select all the correct answers. So there's going to be two correct answers here. And the answer is going to be right here in this first paragraph. It says, credit scores are used by most credit card issuers to determine a consumer's eligibility for credit and to set pricing for credit lines they offer. So to determine eligibility and to set pricing for credit lines. Determine consumers' eligibility to set pricing for credit lines. There you go. All right, this one you don't have to refer to the credit, to the section. This is pretty obvious here. So we want to know which of these is the worst. Okay, so which one sounds the worst? Subprime, prime, deep subprime, near prime, and super prime. Okay. You could look in the article and it talks about these different degrees of credit worthiness. And they're kind of outlined here in this paragraph. But I hope you can see that deep subprime means bad. Yeah, so subprime rate is a bad rate, okay? Deep subprime is the worst, okay? Okay, so deep subprime means you have really bad credit, really bad credit. Subprime means you have bad credit, okay? But not as bad as deep subprime, okay? Above that, you have near prime, so it's getting closer to prime. Above that, you have prime, and then super prime means you have really good credit, okay? So pay all your credit cards and all your loans on time, you'll have really good credit. Okay. Refer to section 2.4.1, transacting and revolving rates on page 54 of the report. So go back to the report. We're going to go to page 54. And you'll see this transacting and revolving rates. Okay. So it talks about two different types of credit card users, basically. And it talks about them here, right here. Okay. So these two sentences. Transacting accounts pay off the previous cycle's balance in full before the end of the next cycle. Revolving accounts pay some amount less than that. Okay. Ideally, you want to have a transacting account, meaning you pay your whole balance. Whatever you owe on your credit card, you want to pay the whole thing every month. So don't leave a balance on there. You should pay it off if you can, pay off your entire credit card all at once. Okay. Do not leave a balance on there if at all possible. Okay. If you leave a balance on there, you're known as revolving account. Basically, whatever balance is left on your credit card, then you'll have to pay interest on that. But if you're transacting and you pay off your entire, every month you just pay off your entire credit card, then you're transacting account and you're not charged any interest. So that's what you want. Okay. So credit card accounts that are paid in full at the end of the billing cycle are transacting. Credit card accounts that carry over a balance greater than zero to the next billing cycle are called revolving. Okay. Refer back to section 2.4.1, transacting and revolving rates, beginning on page 54 of the report. Write 2 or 3 sentences describing the connections that can be drawn between account behavior of cardholders and their credit scores. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll actually see this chart here. Okay, and I'm going to explain what this means. So this is a chart that has to do with revolving accounts. So these are people that do not pay off the entire account all at once. They keep a balance on their account and they get charged interest because of that. So if you look, most of these accounts are, you can see there's Subprime is this, are the green columns, green bars. Prime is the next one over, near prime, subprime, deep subprime, and then overall. Okay, so main one I want to look at is the subprime and deep subprime. These are these two columns, this light green and this blue one here. I don't know why they use 3 different colors of blue and 2 different colors of green. Okay, not very good design, but whatever. So we could see these 2 columns are actually the highest, right? Meaning that for people that have revolving accounts, they don't pay off their entire bill. You could see they usually have worse credit, right? So there's a connection there. People that don't pay off their full bill typically have worse credit, which kind of makes sense, right? If you're consistent about paying off your entire bill, you're going to have good credit. You're going to have good credit, and it's good for you, not just because you'll get good credit, but also because you won't be charged interest. So you really want that transacting account where you're paying off the entire thing in full. Okay. You see these revolving accounts, they have a balance on their accounts pretty much all the time. And you can see a lot of them have deep subprime or subprime. They're not credit worthy. They don't have that good a credit usually. Okay, so that's the connection there. I want you to explain that in just a couple sentences. Okay, that people with revolving accounts who keep a balance on their credit card typically have worse credit. You know, they're more likely to have subprime or deep subprime credit, whereas those that have a transacting account, meaning they pay off their entire balance, typically have better credit. Okay. Once you're done answering that, let's go on to the next page. All right. Okay. Mortgages. So mortgage is basically a similar to a credit card loan, but it's a loan on a house. So, but a lot of the same things apply where there's a interest rate or an APR. Yeah, so let's talk about in a specific example. The Pyans are planning to buy a new house with a sale price of $250,000. They're in the beginning stages of determining their loan eligibility and whether their mortgage will be affordable. In this test, you'll calculate the back-end ratio, a monthly payment, and a down payment, which are values that lenders use when determining consumers' loan eligibility. The Pyans want to determine whether they would be eligible for a fixed rate mortgage. They have done some research on how banks determine eligibility and found that banks use 2 ratios, the front end ratio and the back end ratio. You can see the front end ratio here is your monthly housing expenses divided by your monthly gross income. Okay, so this is like your mortgage, whatever you're going to pay on your mortgage, divided by whatever money you bring in, your income. Back end ratio has to do with your total monthly expenses. So this, not just your housing expenses, but all of your expenses having to do with car loans and insurance and all your expenses, your monthly expenses divided by your gross income. Okay, so these are important ratios to see if you're going to be able to pay off your mortgage, pay off your house loan. Okay. The bank that the Pyans would like to borrow from uses a back-end ratio. So they use this ratio, back-end ratio, to determine loan qualification, approving applications if the back-end ratio is less than 36%. So the Pyans have collected some information on what the bank will consider to calculate the ratio, including what they estimate their monthly mortgage payment will be. All right, so we want to figure out their back-end ratio calculation. Okay. All right, so how do we do that? Well, the back-end ratio basically takes their, their total monthly expenses divided by gross income. Okay, total monthly expenses. So monthly expenses, you want to add up all these here. So add these up, that'll be your total monthly expenses. So you add these up and that'll go in the numerator. The total monthly income, you can see they bring in $10,000 per month, right? So the monthly income is 10,000. So let's figure out their monthly expenses. So I'm just going to add these expenses together. So add their expected mortgage, all this stuff. So this is their expected monthly expenses is $3,150. Okay, divide this. So this gives us 0.315. As a percentage, that's 31.5%. Okay, 31.5%. So remember, they will get the loan if this is less than 36%. You can see it is less than 36%. So the bank will most likely lend the Pions the money because their back-end ratio was lower than 36%. Okay. The Pions have just learned that the bank will approve them for a mortgage at an APR of 4.3% for 30 years if they meet the back-end ratio requirement. To determine whether they'll meet their requirement, the back-end ratio needs to be calculated with the actual monthly payment rather than the estimate used in Part A. Use the monthly payment formula to calculate the Pions' monthly mortgage payment. So we need to figure out their monthly payment. We're going to use this formula here. So this looks crazy, but it's not that bad. Okay. So we want to figure out their monthly payment. We're going to be using this formula here. That P stands for principal, right? That's how large the loan is. In this case, the principal is the price of the house. That's how much their loan is going to be. So that's $250,000. Okay, that's P. R is their interest rate. So in our case, the interest rate, it says, was 4.3%. So we're just going to write as a decimal, 0.043. It says divide by 12. Okay. Formula 1 plus, again, the interest rate, 0.043. Again, divided by 12. To the power of 12 times t. 12 times, and t is the number of years. So that's 30, right? Because it says it's a 30-year loan. Down here, 1 plus the interest rate divided by 12 to the power of 12 times t, right? 12 times t. Again, t is the number of years. That's 30 years minus 1. Okay, so it's a big calculation, but it's actually not that bad. So let's first figure out this 12 times 30. Well, 12 times 30, that's going to be 360. Okay, so that's 360 there. And 12 times 30, I'll just replace that with the 360. Okay, so let's figure out what's in this parentheses first. So we're going to do 0.043 divided by 12 plus 1, and then that answer to the power of 360. Get your calculator out. 0.043 divided by 12. And again, if you write everything I write, it'll make a lot more sense. Add 1, then to the power of 360. So that gives us this value is actually, I'm going to maybe change the color of my pen here. So this value here is 3 point, and I'm going to go quite a few decimal places because we're dealing with large numbers. So 0.6244, and then we'll do 2. Okay, because after that's a 9, rounds up. Okay. So then we're going to, and this denominator, this number is actually the same, right? Because it has the same thing. So this is going to be the same thing, 3.624442. Okay. So on the numerator, we're going to go ahead and multiply this all out together. So 250,000 times 0.043 divided by 12 times this, then divided by down here. Okay. So multiply this numerator out. Go ahead and do that on your own as well. Okay, so in the numerator, I've got 3. I'm going to again change my color, maybe back to black. 3, 2, 4, 6 point, and again, go quite a few decimal places because we're dealing with larger numbers here. Okay, and then in the denominator, it's going to be this 3 point whatever minus 1. So that's going to become 2 point whatever, 2.62442. Okay, so this will give us our monthly payment. So go ahead and divide that, and you should get your monthly payment, one of these answers. Okay. Next question, part C. The Pion's real estate agent has encouraged them to make a 15% down payment. Type the correct answer in each box, round your answer to the nearest cent if necessary. So if they make a 15% down payment, that means their loan is going to be lower because remember, the price of the house is $250,000 and they're going to pay 15% of that up front. So they're going to pay 15% of the $250,000. So the 15% of $250,000, that's 0.15 times 250,000. Let's go ahead and multiply those out to figure out how much their loan is going to be. 0.15 times 250. So their down payment is going to be, just multiplying those together to find 15%, $37,500. So basically they're going to pay this amount of money up front. A down payment is an upfront payment, and so that makes your loan smaller. So originally their loan was, the price of their loan was $250,000, but now they're paying this much upfront, so they don't need to take out as big of a loan. So how much loan do they need to take out? Well, let's do the $250,000 minus the down payment. So now their loan is $212,500. Okay, it's $212,500. Let's go ahead and figure out the monthly payment, the monthly mortgage payment. That'll go here. The monthly mortgage payment, again, we're going to use the formula that we had before. So scroll up here, this formula right here. Okay, so again, that's, let's see, what was their interest rate? It was 4.3%. Okay. 0.43 divided by 12. Now I wish I didn't erase those numbers I had earlier. I think I wrote them down somewhere. Yeah, right here. Okay. So remember, it was the 1 plus 0.043 divided by 12 to the power of 360. That ended up giving us 3.62442. Hope you remember that. And then over, and then in our denominator would be 2.62442. Okay, so go ahead and multiply this numerator and then divide by this denominator. So the numerator is going to be times 0.043 12 times 3.62442, then divided by 2.62442. So that gives us a monthly payment of, let me make sure they got the same answer as me. Yeah, same answer. Okay. So that gives me a monthly payment of $1,051.60. Okay, so you can see their monthly payment came down quite a bit because they did this down payment. So their loan is smaller, which means their monthly payment is going to be smaller as well. Okay, cool. Part D. Placing a down payment on a home is a common practice among home buyers and in many cases is required by the lender for eligibility reasons. As the Pion's real estate agent suggested in Part C, It's also important to help keep the mortgage payment low and within the home buyer's monthly budget to avoid the risk of default. Write 2 or 3 sentences summarizing what might happen if the Pines were to default on their monthly mortgage payments. To default means that they don't make the payments, okay? So what happens if they just don't make the payments? Well, what would happen is the bank would repossess the home and the home would be in foreclosure, meaning that they would lose their home, they would be forced to move out, and any money that they had put towards the loan, or any basically any equity that they gained from buying the home would be lost. Okay, so again, if you're making monthly payments on your mortgage, just make sure that you are able to make those payments, okay? Otherwise, your home will go into foreclosure. So that's what would happen. And then you'd be kicked out of your home. You'd lose your home, essentially, right? So it's important to keep your mortgage payment low and within your budget. That way you avoid default, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Summarize that in a sentence or two. I already explained it, so just kind of write it in your own words. All right. Well, with that, I hope that all made sense. Hope you're able to get through it. And if you found that useful and you'd like to say thank you, just like, comment, subscribe, whatever. And I would really appreciate it. All right. And if you really, really want to say thank you, then share it with someone else who might find it useful. All right. Well, with that, take care, and I'll see you guys next time.